He's the final boss of boxing in Wii Sports, the supreme champion of swordplay in Wii Sports Resort, and without a doubt the most iconic Mii across Nintendo's personalised pantheon. But just who is this enigmatic athlete? Does he have a penchant for violence? Or is he just a jumped up skyward sword speedrunner? Either way, he concerns me deeply. This is a man who we know so little about, a man who's so mysterious that even Nintendo themselves made him wrong in a screenshot tweeted out to advertise 2022's Nintendo Switch Sports. Look, those eyebrows are going straight in the evidence file. Today we seek to learn more about Matt, where he came from, how he's so good at what he does, why he does it, and perhaps even where he might be going next. Today, we seek to demystify the man, unmask the myth behind the Matt, and once and for all, decipher the origins of Matt from Wii Sports. Evening all, I'm Detective Investigator Lyle Fudj, also known as the Video Game Detective. Yes, we use our full names and our acronyms in my department, and yes, Fudj is my surname. My department was established as a result of some of my impressive prior investigative work, such as when I definitively closed the book on that silly Pokemon vs. a Billion Lions debate a couple years back, and in response to the worryingly growing trend of video game related mysteries cropping up all over the place. Matt is a powerful man, and to have such a battle-hungry bruiser out there with no knowledge of his whereabouts, background, or really anything is disconcerting, to say the least. Let's see if we can put some minds at ease, and let's begin with the investigation. Let's first start real simple and just talk about some of the most immediately noticeable things about Matt's physical appearance. He's got some facial hair, he likes the colour orange, and alright, look, this is always a hard topic for me to know how to approach as a white guy. I don't want to seem like I'm dancing around the obvious, but I'm also trying to avoid coming across as blunt or insensitive. I'm just gonna say it, and I hope you'll know that I'm not trying to cause any offence. He's bald. Now this to me would suggest one of two things. One, he's middle-aged, or two, he's a baby. Now I'm not one to rashly rule out possibilities, but I don't think he's a baby, because babies drink milk, and I've never seen Matt drink milk before. Considering some of his in-game accolades, his non-existent hairline, and some stuff we're going to cover later, I'm going to estimate Matt to be somewhere between the ages of 35 and 55. Matt first became a known entity to the public with 2006's Wii Sports, in which he appears in multiple places, but most notably as the game's boxing champion. Matt is an infamously tough boxer, and gained notoriety for the speed and severity with which he would put down his challengers. At the same time, thanks to the Wii Sports wiki, a trove of knowledge I'll be referring to throughout this investigation, we know that he is terrible at tennis, and not particularly good at baseball either. Matt's legend would continue with Wii Sports Resort in 2009, in which he is the most acclaimed sword fighter in the game, serving as the final boss of both the game's one-on-one swordplay duels and swordplay showdown, a mode in which you mow down the other Miis as though they were civilians in a Grand Theft Auto game, and you were a very angry cognoscenti cabrio. He also plays the role of the referee in the Speed Slice mode, a mode in which your reaction times and dexterity are tested as you aim to slice through objects from the correct angle with your sword faster than your opponent. This is all to say, Matt is very good at, and has a vested interest in the discipline of sword fighting. Now, I'm sure I know what you're all thinking. No, he's not Mace Windu, okay? There can be more than one black bald guy who's very good at sword fighting, and Matt doesn't have to be anyone else. He can have his own backstory and motivations, and just get that idea of your head right now. His position as the referee in Speed Slice seems to suggest that he's interested in cultivating, or at least observing, the next generation of sword fighting masters. A teacher kind of figure. And this is backed up by some things that we can learn about him through looking deeper at his role in the original Wii Sports. In the background of the training room, we can see Matt as the boxing champion facing off with Andy Andy, with both sporting different hairstyles. Also, in these pictures, Matt's shorts are red, as opposed to the orange we're used to seeing him sport in the modern day. We know from the 2020 Nintendo leak about CPU Miis that Matt's favourite colour was red once upon a time. So Matt has been a boxing champion before, used to have hair, used to wear red, and is now also the player's trainer during the boxing training sessions. Now I know what you're thinking, no, he's not Doc Lewis from Punch-Out!, okay? There can be more than one black guy who wears red and trains people in boxing. Get your head out the clouds, we're doing detective work here. Matt has one final appearance of note in 2010's lesser known Wii Party. In it, yet again, he's very good. He's the top-ranking CPU in the game's expert solo mode. He's the best at the minigame Clover Hunt, in which you have to find a certain amount of 4-leafed clovers in a painting before time runs out, and he's the third best in the expert version of the balance boat mode, in which you have to place Miis on a ship without tipping the balance too far in one direction or the other. Clearly, as well as everything else, Matt is a man who loves to party and partake in some good old family fun. And I know what you're thinking, but no, he's not Steve Harvey, alright? This is getting weird now. Now that we know all of the pertinent facts we can about Matt's appearances, it's time to look closer at some of the more granular details in search of an overall conclusion. It's time to look at the evidence. The aforementioned CPU Mii leak from 2020 unsurprisingly tells us that Matt is North American, and we can glean from his previous appearances that he has a proclivity for combat sports. This is what makes his skills at balance boat and to a lesser extent Clover Hunt so incongruous. Being the best at Clover Hunt would surely require keen observation skills in a fast-paced environment, and yet if Matt has these to such an extent, then why is he so bad at tennis? But even weirder is Matt's near mastery in balance boat, paired with his dismal stats in cycling, his other weak sport I haven't mentioned yet. Matt seems to show a great aptitude for understanding the human body and its relationship with balance, a trait key for cycling, and has good enough fitness to be a champion boxer and sword fighter. So how is he still so bad at cycling? To me, the most likely solution is some form of foul play. I suspect that Matt is using external means to guide his observation in Clover Hunt, and is also influencing the result of balance boat via some kind of unseen outside force. So there's this very compelling theory that Mace Windu isn't actually dead. We never see a body after Palpatine sends him flying out the window, and the Force sensitive have survived much crazier things. See Leia floating through outer space in The Last Jedi. Sorry, I've been on Reddit a lot recently. It's possible that Matt is a swindler. There are scientific links between testosterone and pridefulness, and perhaps his rather embarrassing performances in cycling and the like, whilst also being boxing and sword fighting champion, led him to cheat in less physical activities 3 years after the fact in Wii Party, so as to create the illusion of someone who is more than just a meathead and is skilled in brawn and brains. Another likely theory is that perhaps Matt just chilled out between Wii Sports Resort and Wii Party. If he is in fact in his mid to late 30s at his youngest at the release of Wii Sports in 2006, maybe by the time 2010 rolled around and he was approaching his 40s or later, he greatly deprioritized the sports in his life and moved to working out the muscles of his mind. Hell, we know that he's interested in raising the next generation of fighters. Maybe he left competition behind to become an instructor. It's possible, albeit somewhat unlikely, that in the 1 year gap between Wii Sports Resort and Wii Party, he got to work on his previously non-existent balance and observation skills. He could have just been exclusively excellent at combat sports before then, with little to no aptitude for anything else. Perhaps he was just fine with traditional cycling, but particularly bad on some of the weird terrain that Wii Sports Resort asks you to traverse, like volcanoes and the beach. I can hardly blame him. I hate sand. It's rough, it's coarse, it gets everywhere. The third and most unlikely theory is for the superstitious of you out there, and that's that Matt is either multiple people or a shapeshifter. See, Matt also appears in some other Mii-centric games I've not talked about yet. 2013's Wii Party U, 2014's Wii Sports Club, and the briefly mentioned Nintendo Switch Sports from 2022. The thing is that Matt in Wii Party U and Wii Sports Club looks like this, and Matt in Nintendo Switch Sports looks like this. Yeah, the man is back at it again. Furthermore, the Matt in Wii Sports Club is amazing at tennis and baseball specifically. Trying to patch some holes up there, bud? And even when Nintendo attempted to make the Matt we all know for a simple screenshot to promote Nintendo Switch Sports, they made him wrong. Shape-shifting demons and trickster deities are known to dislike those who learn too much about them and meddle with their memories. Perhaps this is all a sick joke being played on us by a cruel, sports-loving demigod. But if so, that would be a matter for the video game theologist, so go and bother him about it. Perhaps there's an underground society of athletic mats who share sports-related secrets in the dimly lit corridors of their hidden base, and are determined to cover each other's weaknesses so as to achieve worldwide sporting and party event dominance without letting race get in the way. It's actually quite inspiring. As you can see, we're having to grasp at straws here. There is still so much crucial information on the entity known as Matt completely hidden from us. I can present you with as many theories as I want, but as the video game detective, eventually I must attempt to close the case. Sometimes we must let go of our pride and do what is requested of us. So let's try and put all the pieces together, wrap this up, and come to the conclusion. Of all the many things about Matt that have evaded me, the one that has frustrated me the most is a motive. Of course it's possible that he's a cheater, an instructor, or a demon, but why? Why anything? How did he end up on Wuhu Island? Why the love of combat sports? Why the desire to teach the next generation? It is incredibly exasperating to be at this stage and still have none of the answers to these questions. If I could find a motive, it could all fall into place. From a motive, I could ascertain so many of these things. And yet, it eludes me. I began combing back through Matt's trivia section on the Wii Sports wiki to see if there were any little details I'd missed, but none of it leads anywhere. He's on some official artwork for Wii Music. He's one of very few CPU Miis who throws underhand in baseball. When you defeat him in Wii Sports Resort, you can unlock a purple sword. I'm lost. I hate that my first case on the job has wound up like this. Wait a minute. When you defeat him in Wii Sports Resort, you can unlock a purple sword. When you defeat him in Wii Sports Resort, you can unlock a purple sword. When you defeat him in Wii Sports Resort, you can unlock a purple sword. Purple sword. Purple sword. You can unlock a purple sword. Oh my god. Okay, new theory. In Revenge of the Sith in 2005, Mace Windu is savagely attacked by Emperor Palpatine, but he survives. We never see a body. Seeing the devastation caused to the Jedi by Order 66, he flees to somewhere else under a new name. A little place called Wuhu Island. Boom. Barely a year later, on August 30th, 2006, the me known as Matt is born. But is it little more than a carefully crafted disguise? A year is more than enough time to grow out a goatee and stay inconspicuous. This Matt guy is unusually gifted in the martial arts. He doesn't care about all the more traditional sports like tennis or baseball, but he does care about passing on his knowledge in combat to the next generation. Why? Because he's biding his time. One man can't take on the Galactic Empire alone. 3 years later, when the time is right and he's integrated with the Wuhu Island regulars, he brings out the big guns and starts showing people what he can do with a blade in hand. And to the special one with the power to knock him off his perch goes his legendary purple sword, and with it, his will to see the Jedi return once again. Suddenly, we have a motive and it all makes sense. The guy boxing Andy wore red and was a different guy. Matt from Wii Sports is Mace Windu. Case closed. Didn't think I could do it, eh? Maybe you underestimated my power. Whew! I have to say, I'm incredibly relieved to have made it all make sense. And even more so, to have finally found you, Master Windu. I'll see you on the next video game detective, and in the meantime, I think it's time to finish what I started.